Hello basketball coaches and basketball players, my name is Alan from Al's Basketball Training, and today I'm going to talk to you about how you can make your pregame warm-ups a lot more eventful and a lot more exciting. So, I was asked by a coach on, I think it was Facebook, asking, hey, so my warm-ups, my pregame warm-ups are super boring. All my players are doing is just going in for a layups. Lackadaisical and easy, and it's just not fun to watch. It's not making the other team scared. What can we do? So first off, stop doing layup lines. No matter what league, no matter what age you're coaching, doesn't matter if it's somebody over in Europe, somebody in Canada, US, stop doing layup lines. Layup lines are okay if you haven't even started your pregame warm-up. This is just so you can get used to the ball, maybe take a few shots, whatever it may be. You can, those are okay. But if you're actually trying to warm up for a game, this is doing absolutely nothing for you. You have your players standing still, doing nothing, and then finally getting a ball, jogging in, dribbling the ball, and going up for a layup, or maybe do a nice easy cross and shot. And they're not doing much. Sure, we see the NBA players doing this, but that's not their true warm-up. Their true warm-up is what those players are doing in the background. And also, as far as when you're trying to warm up for a real game, you need to be loud. So, I'm going to give you a drill right now that you can use to warm up for your next basketball game. So, for this drill, we're going to need 4 players, and we're going to need these players in a line. Of course, we're still having a whole idea of a line, but at least we're going to be loud. So, we're going to be going, player 3 is going to pass to player 2, and he's going to follow his pass. Player 2 is going to pass over to player 1. He's going to follow his pass. Player 1 is going to be then passing over to player 5 and following his pass. And then player 4, he is going to be going and cutting towards the rim. Meanwhile, player 5 is going to pass the ball to player 4. Player 5 is going to then fill that spot, and player 4 can go in for the layup. If your players can dunk, they can go in for the dunk. Now, every single time that player goes in for a layup, and your team better be making every single layup. They're going to be clapping each time they make a pass, and they're going to be cheering every single time we go in for a layup. So, when they go for a pass, I want to hear, when they go for a layup or a dunk, I want to hear, yeah, let's go, or something along those lines. That way, you're hyping up your team, you're making noise, which is, of course, always, any kind of noise is good to intimidate the other team. And then, we can run this drill for about 3 to 5 minutes. In our next drill, what we're going to be doing is some quick 3-man weave to half court. We all know what 3-man weave is, and every single time they go in for a layup or a dunk at the end, I want to hear, yeah, let's go. Because again, noise is great, especially if you're going to be intimidating the other team. So let's get down to the clipboard really quickly. I'm going to show you what the 3-man weave looks like at half court and how you can run this as well. Okay, so we've got the 3-man weave. We got player 1 moving up. Player 4 is going to be following his pass. Player 2 is going to receive that ball. We really only want to have 2 at max 3 passes, but I only want to see 2. He's going to put the ball down. He is now coming back on defense. And now we're going to be running 2-on-1. And then what we're going to be doing is having player 1 pick up that ball. We're going to be coming in for a 2-on-1, and then what's going to happen is going to be a layup or a dunk, and we're going to be running through this really quickly. Now, if you would like, while we're doing all the passes in the 3-man weave, we can be clapping. And then, when we go in for that layup, yeah, we made it, let's go, and just being loud all together. And then, once you have completed these 2 drills, that would be great to run for a warm-up, which will be 5 to 7 minutes long. And if you're in a tournament, generally speaking, you really only have 5 to 10 minutes in between in between the last game that was played and now your game that's starting up. So if you can run this for 5 to 7 minutes, those 2 drills, being loud, pumping up your team, and this is going to help you win more games. Now, when you're walking to your bench, let's say there's 30 seconds to a minute before the game starts, and your team now needs to get to the bench. A lot of teams, they just kind of like, oh, okay, time for the game to start, and they just start walking towards the court or walking towards the bench with their hands to the side, maybe looking at the other team and seeing who's in the stands and, oh, hey, there's my mom, whatever it may be. What I like to have my team do is stare down the other team. Every single player on my team, when they're coming to the bench, they are looking at the other team. And they're all clapping. All at the same time. I want to be hearing those individual claps all at the same time. So then, the other team, 99% of the time, will look at your players. And the reason why they're looking at your players is because they're afraid and they're scared and they're intimidated because of the clapping that you're doing. Now, if the best case scenario, the other team is going to stop their warm-up completely and watch you, it's fantastic to do. And make sure your players have the meanest looking face ever. It's fantastic. If you ever can do this, it's amazing. And the intimidation factor is insane. And before you even talk to them, they get into a group like this, going back and forth, and you've got your loudest player in the middle saying, "What time is it?" And then the other players in the circle going like this say, "It's game time." And you can keep on going back and forth. You can have your own chant. That's just ours. It goes, "What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time." Yeah. That's basically what ours is. And it's quite intimidating when you've got 10 to 12 players yelling that as loud as possible right next to the other team who is currently warming up. It's fantastic. Now, of course, we're talking about young kids and intimidating other young kids, but it's a sport. You need to be able to have this in the sport. There's so many parents these days who are like, "Oh my God, we can't be having kids intimidating other kids. That's just not nice. That's just not fair." It's like the same as giving trophies to every single player on the court saying, "Good job, Johnny, you got MVP." But then again, your whole team, every single player got MVP, because we can't just have one kid having MVP. We have to have a whole team having MVPs. No, intimidation is good. It teaches your team how to be strong, but it also teaches the other team that maybe they shouldn't listen to the other team's intimidation tactics. I know if I'm playing, which the last time I played in any kind of competitive league was like 10 years ago, but when the other team tried to do things like that, I didn't pay attention to it. I didn't care. I heard it. I don't care. When we went down to the States, my first American tournament, which was when I was in grade 10, the other team did the same thing. And they were clapping, and that's where I got it from. And they're all clapping at the same time. And they're all clapping and clapping and staring us down. The only reason I know why they stared us down, or how they stared us down, or that they did stare us down, is the fact that the rest of my teammates were all there like, "Oh, we're gonna get our asses kicked." And there's me still going in for a layup, because that's what we did back then, was layup lines. Now, from there, take this into your team. Use this tactic. You can change your drills up. Just do not do layup drills or free throw shots, because that's just a waste of time. Do that on an empty court 20 minutes before a game. Don't do that before a game. Now, I hope that you've enjoyed today's video. I hope that you have enjoyed my rant sort of at the end, and I will see you guys again later on today for the second video of the day.